Reading and editing the contents of a large spreadsheet with hundreds or even thousands of data entries can seem like a large task. Thankfully, Microsoft Excel offers several features and keyboard shortcuts that help you navigate and edit your spreadsheets. Over the next few minutes, you'll explore these features and shortcuts and learn how to use them. AdventureWorks has sent you a large inventory file. They need you to check the current information in the file and add some new data. There are over 100 entries in the file to navigate through. However, you can quickly review these entries and add new ones through Excel's navigation features and keyboard shortcuts. There are several useful navigation and editing features available in Excel. The Freeze Panes feature, for example, keeps an area of the screen static. You could use it to freeze a specific row. The static area remains on screen while you scroll freely through the other content. You can use the New Window option to open a second viewpoint of your file. With this feature, you can keep one part of the file within view as you work in another area. Namebox is another useful Excel feature. The namebox is the title of an area located between the ribbon and the worksheet to the left of the formula bar. When you type a cell reference in this box and press Enter, the cell cursor moves to that position on the sheet. The name box can also be used to assign a name to a cell. Finally, there are also several keyboard shortcuts that you can use to speed up the navigation and editing of a spreadsheet. Let's discover more about how these features and shortcuts operate by helping AdventureWorks. First, you need to freeze key rows to give yourself a more efficient view of the data. From the window group of the View ribbon, you can access several options. Two of these include Freeze Panes and New Window. Select the Freeze Pane drop-down to view three choices: Freeze Panes, Freeze Top Row, and Freeze First Column. Select Freeze Top Row to turn the row currently visible at the top of the screen static. Be aware that row 1 isn't always the top visible row. A horizontal line appears under the top row to indicate the static area. The selected frozen row remains static while the other rows below it scroll off screen. You can also select Freeze First Column to turn the first column currently visible on screen static. In this case, it's the category column. Again, the first column, column A, isn't always the one that becomes static. Selecting the Freeze First Column option automatically turns off the Freeze First Row option. Once you've frozen an area of the screen, the first choice in the Freeze Panes drop-down menu changes to Unfreeze Pane. Select the Unfreeze pane to release all static areas on screen. What if you need to freeze the screen in two directions at the same time? For example, to help AdventureWorks view its worksheet more clearly, you need to make sure that all row titles and the data in columns A and B are visible. To do this, you first need to select on C2 to move the cursor to that position. Then in the Freeze Panes drop-down, select the Freeze Panes option. Once this option is selected, Excel identifies the cursor position and freezes everything above and to its left. Your cursor is currently on C2, so Excel freezes columns A and B along with row 1. Again, you can use the Unfreeze Panes option on the Freeze Panes drop-down to release all areas of the screen. You must also have the totals in row 152 available on the screen while editing other areas of the spreadsheet. You can use the New Window command to open another view of the file in a new window. This window isn't a separate copy of the file, it's just a different view of the same file. With both views visible, you can now review the totals data in row 152 while editing the cells in other areas of the spreadsheet. To close this second view, just select the X in the top right-hand corner of its window. You can also move quickly around the worksheet using keyboard shortcuts. Let's take a moment to explore some keyboard shortcuts available to Windows users. Press Ctrl and Home to jump to cell A1 at the top left of the worksheet. If on the Freeze Panes top row choice is turned on, the cursor will instead jump to cell A2. But what if you need to move to the end of your work to continue data entry? Press Ctrl and End to move the cursor to the last cell in the worksheet that contains content. Rather than simply moving the cursor, hold down the Shift key while pressing either the Ctrl and Home or the Ctrl and End combinations. Excel selects the entire block as it moves the cursor. You can also use the name box to move quickly to specific cells. The name box is located to the left of the formula bar. The box typically displays the cell reference for your cursor's current position. However, if you type a different cell reference and press Enter, your cursor jumps to the specified cell. The name box is also a useful method for assigning names to cells. A cell name helps users to identify data content since it's more descriptive than just a cell reference. AdventureWorks needs you to rename cell 152 to units in stock. So position the cursor on the cell, then in name box, type the text units underscore in underscore stock and press Enter. Cell names must be unique and cannot contain spaces. You can use the underscore symbol to substitute for spaces. If the cell is referenced in a calculation, its name and reference are visible. You can view the name from the drop-down list in the name box. You can check which cell the name is assigned by selecting the Name Manager on the formula ribbon. In the drop-down, select the cell name to move the cursor to the cell. You can use these same steps to view and access this cell from any sheet in the workbook. For example, from the Products 2 sheet. Selecting the units in stock cell name from the name box drop-down brings you back to that cell on the Products 1 sheet. You should now know the Excel features and shortcuts to help you navigate and edit spreadsheets. You can use these tools to assist you in any AdventureWorks Excel-based assignments. Well done.